Alright guys, excuse the spring frame here. I do regret using it now. I thought it was a good idea at the time. But it's the first full day of spring. It's the 22nd of March and we're raring to go. It's a Monday and it's looking good. But what's not looking good is Bitcoin's breakout. Now this is starting to annoy even myself. And I do pride myself in having a lot of patience in life and with friends and family and in the crypto market. But if there's one thing that's kind of getting and peeving me at the moment, it's this breakout here. Now, if I just come here on the, I'm going to go to the 4 hour and daily. I don't like to look at the 1 hour when I look at fibs, okay? So the fib retracement, I'm going from, as we looked on the other video, sorry about that guys, going to keep pinging. I'll just turn that off a second. I should have done that before the video. We've got from the low on the 28th of the month when it hit that bottom to the top here on the 14th of March. So we went from the bottom of around 43,000 to the top of 62, okay? 61,724, just shy of 62, wasn't it? So the fib retracement here we're looking at, and what I believe Bitcoin is targeting right now is the 38 fib line, okay? 54,822. Do I think it could get as low as that? Yes, I do. It could. I don't know if it will yet. Okay, I don't think it will yet. It possibly might later next week as futures expire, and I think we will come off dramatically. We'll have one big washout before another rally into April. April, I think, is very bullish. I think we're going to go vertical up into the 70s, high 70s, maybe even the low 90s. I've said this again on a previous video. Go back and check that. Link will be in the description. Now, here on the daily chart, we've got the 38 fib line right here. And the 38 fib line is 54,822, right? So as we saw, I like the daily chart. It just, the candles are smaller and the sell-offs don't look as harsh, do they? Right here, it doesn't look as big a deal than if you look on the 1 hour chart or something. Now, we're right on 56.6, all right? Now, it's been chopping and changing. I do think here, however, going from my chart experience, I do think we've bottomed out here at 53,477 temporarily. All right, there's a part of me that thinks this might be the bottom that we'll ever see again going forward. That will only be confirmed after the sell-off later in April, after we see the top of this first phase of the bull run this year. I'll know more on that then. I don't need to know what that level will be right now. But I do think this is just a little pullback here before we bounce up to 58 again. It's just playing silly buggers, and I do think we're going to come out of this, bounce off the median line, which I drew here before. We've caught a bit of action here. We've caught one or two bottoms where the tails on these candles have hit. The tail here on the daily on the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th. We've bounced off this level here just above 54.3, and I do think that is a firm support there. It's where the market broke up, has now acted as support, and I do think we're going to bounce towards 58 here. Other than that, where do I see this going? Well, I see Bitcoin going far beyond 65,000, okay? We have seen now this week, we're seeing the second red candle in a row so far today. We've only seen two, we've seen very mild ones before, guys. You know, here we saw 3 weeks in a row, the start of March, that was the big sell-off. We've saw 3 or 4 in a row here in summer last year when the volume was very thin, as you can see here, very low volume, very low activity. The price was dead for a month. And since then, we've saw 2 down candles, 2 weeks down, 1 week down, a flush out there, the end of Feb, that 3rd week of Feb, which we've noted before. And now we're seeing this again here. I don't think it's anything to worry about. I do think we're going to bounce off this 56 level, maybe 55.5 at worst, before we head back to 58 and finally break 60, 62,000 and head into the 70s, 80s, possibly 90s into April. But I do expect in 7 days from the 22nd, the last day or two of March, another swift pullback. Whether we'll be at 65 then, I don't know. We might pull back to 55. That might be a 10,000 pip sell-off. That will be big. If so, we might be at 75 and we pull back to 65 before we then push from 65 up to 80, 90. That might be a case. I'll only know how much veracity that the pullback will have when I see the price, the end of this week, early next week. So I will only be able to tell then. Right now, it could be anything. It could be 55, it could be 60, it could be 65. I'm hoping it's going to be in the 60s before we have that one final flush out when futures expire next week, or the end of this week, I should say, on Friday, 4 days away, the 26th of March. And then we go on from there. So one final little flush out. But we could just see this meander all week long, test 55, 54, 55, up to that 60 level and bounce back off and just range here before we blast out next week. But let's see. Patience is wearing slightly thin, but I'm still have bundles of patience left with Bitcoin. It's given us all these fantastic gains from October 2020 up till now. So how can anyone complain with a nice 6x move on the largest cryptocurrency? It's not bad. It's solid gains and it's doing well. It's well ahead of the stock to flow ratio. We'll be looking at next time, the stock to flow price. We'll be looking at that next time. But for now, guys, for me, everything looks good. I'm slightly leveraged on this on Bitcoin. I've got a 1.17 Bitcoin here. I could add a little bit more if I wanted to, but I'm going to wait. I could add another 0.58 Bitcoin. I'm going to wait to see if this goes to the low 56s or mid 55s even, and I'll probably set my limit here. I'm not going to set a limit here yet because I'm just seeing I'm already in for just over a Bitcoin, so I don't need to add any more risk yet, even though I've got plenty of capital here as collateral, so I'm low risk at the moment, so I'm actually fine. I'm comfortable where I am right now. I'm not going to add any more to it, but I will be tempted in and around this level here, 54, 55. Let's see. All right, guys, right, bless you. On to the next video, and I look forward to this great week ahead. All the best, guys.